Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. G'day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side once be all the updates, be the first one of getting all the insight. Now today I would like to give you a little bit of update on some news. Obviously we are getting in almost towards the 1st July 2023, so a new financial year, a new policies as we have foreseen in the past month, all the changes. So one of the things that they are bringing in, it's not a news, but it's just 2 days ago, so I have taken some time to actually digest a little bit. Obviously there has been a lot of inquiries recently. So what is it? Let's have a look at the news, and then I'll get you into the actual media release from the Department of Home Affairs. It's about a crackdown on the weak, I don't know why they say that, weak employers who exploit workers. So basically they are looking to penalize Australian employer who exploited migrant workers, and they are likely to be warned face a 2-year jail prison sentence if they do not follow, well, they're not being a good citizen or good employer or following the law. So the reform expand the protection of some of the most vulnerable workforce will be introduced to federal parliament within weeks. I think first of all I'm welcoming on this visa. Well, is it too harsh? Well, I think that's not quite, because the exploitation on the migrant worker has been out there for years out there, but obviously there are some still good employers out there. These enforcements will basically make the law more complete. So migrant worker has more protections. Previously a lot of employees, especially migrants, they are reluctant, or they have that sort of fear, or because if they're being exploited, but if they go and tell the public, or if they go complain to the departments, obviously it's likely they will lose the visa as well. So the employer got punished, but the employee lose the visa, and perhaps as a migrant worker, they got all family in Australia, just settle. So what's gonna happen if they lose the visa? They're gonna leave again, and that's causing lifetime stress. So I think this is a very good law that they are proposing, but how it's gonna enforce on what the employer should really follow. So let's continue to read. Okay, proposed change will make the criminal offence coerce someone into breaching their visa condition, extend allowable time between employer sponsors to 180 days. So that's enough time. And also they also stop employer who have previously exploited worker to hiring people, so they cannot continue set up a new company and do the same thing. Personally, I haven't really seen people like this, but I do know there has been a lot of these kind of stuff going on. So last week Australian Border Force fined Perth, a bubble tea shop, Utopia, for $13,320 for underpaying underpaying sponsored worker. It has banned the company from sponsoring workers for 2 years. So I think these enforcement will be good, and the Immigration Minister Andrew Giles said that he will work with the Fair Work Ombudsman to establish a best practice. I think this should really be there a long time ago, but it has just with the new government recently, they're looking to implement something there. So let's look at the actual Australian news. This is coming from Australian Alliance. It says the same thing. Federal government to tackle worker exploitation will protect worker at risk of exploitation with a package of measures targeting employer who seek to exploit temporary visa holders. I think that's really correct. That's why that aligns with the government's agenda, where they are looking to promote permanent residency rather than temporary visa holder, because temporary visa holder, they don't have the rights, and they are more likely to be exploited as well. So the former government has actually established sort of policy and creating almost 2 million temporary visa holders. And imagine the percentage, whatever the percentage, and how many workers, migrants, has been exploited under the previous policy. So these changes will be good. So the federal government will protect. Again, this is just another repeat. 1 in 6 recent migrant to Australia is paid less than the minimum wage. Wow, 1 in 6, that's a lot. So anyway, I've clicked onto that source there. Let's have a read the actual media release from the government itself. Okay, the Albanese government to tackle workers' exploitation, joint media released by the Honourable Tony Burke MP and the Honourable Andrew Giles MP, so members of Parliament. The Albanese government will protect workers at risk of exploitation with package measure to target employers who seek to exploit temporary visa holder to ensure workers can speak up without fear. And that is the key here. There has been too many temporary visa holders. They just not really fear, but what they are really reluctant to do it is because if in the current policy, if they do it, if they complain, okay, they are likely to lose their visa as well. That means they lose the whole family in Australia. So that's why the fear has been created during the previous former policies. 1 in 6 migrants in Australia underpay. This exploitation doesn't just hurt the individual worker, but effectively drive down wages. So the wages has not, they are calling this a reason why the wage has not grown for the past 10 years. After a decade of neglect, the Albanese government is cleaning up the mess of former Liberal government who failed implementing key recommendation. The recommendation had already been, putting in hand of the former government by the Migration Worker Task Force report. Following 8 months of the consultation, the Albanese government is today announcing a package of legislative power, enforcing 2 additional funding, a new approach to help people in exploitative workplaces speak up. The Minister of Immigration, Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs, Andrew Giles, will introduce the legislation into the Parliament in coming weeks, will penalise the unscrupulous employers. The new measure will, okay, here is the key, make a criminal offence or coerce someone into breaching their visa condition. What does that mean? For example, the visa condition for a general employment sponsored visa is you got to be paid above the threshold, and they're using that condition to actually ask the worker, the migrant, to pay the employer in order for the employer to pay back to the employee. So that is wrong. And also other type of things, for example, working over hours or working somewhere else or working in a different position. Okay, number 2, introduce prohibitions notice to stop employer from further hiring people on temporary visa where they have exploited migrants. So I think how they're going to do this is they will connect with the ATO, because everybody working in Australia will require to have a tax file number. So if they've been banned for 2 years of hiring temporary visa worker, for example, temporary visa worker including international students. For example, if somebody, a shop, for example, a restaurant, okay, they have been banned this year, and the next 2 years, even if they want to hire an international student just for part-time or casual work, from the taxation, the tax file number, they will be banned to actually hiring these international students if they really wish to. So that will be a very a big expansion, and noting that the employer is not genuine as well, or they have done something wrong previously. Number 3, increase penalty and new compliance to deter exploitation. So I think that will be, again, that's what I just said, connecting with the tax file number, ATO, and also with ASICs, so the company registries, so they will know, and also perhaps the director, they will know who is actually hiring, who has been banned on that kind of thing. So repeal Section 235 Migration Act, which actively undermines people report exploitative behavior. We're gonna go look into that one later on. But criminalize the offense on the exploitation is good. The government will also provide 50 million funding resource Australian Border Force of these to enforce the compliant activities. So they will be actively sending Australian Border Force all around the Australia to actually check the employers. And the government is committed to support those exploiters speak out. The government will consult with the business, union and civil society on whistleblower protection for temporary visa holders. So obviously there will be some sort of visa protections, how the Department of Home Affairs will, if somebody's come out with as a whistleblower to complain, for example. Some people are afraid to complain because they may get caught, and they, in the community may get some sort of pressure. So there will be some sort of protective mechanisms for those whistleblowers. Okay. Quotes attribute Minister of Workforce Relation and Employment, Tony Burke. Exploiting worker is never acceptable. We are committed to stem out. So basically they're saying they're going to do it. From Claire O'Neill, the Minister of Home Affairs, over the last 10 years, our system, well, you probably have heard this, along with the Migration Review Report, basically saying the former government has not done the right thing and they are correcting it. So I'm not going to repeat all of these words. And for Andrew Giles, similar sentences has been speak out. So the main thing is the four key points here, 1, 2, 3, 4, which I believe will be coming out by, I think will be coming out by 1st July. Anyway, that is for the quick news about the upcoming changes. And should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below. And I see you next video. Goodbye.